All right, man. So Joe, you paying 10,000 plus a month for rent for a building to do a podcast, bro? When you could have just went and probably built a crib and built a studio in that crib? You a lot of y'all be having money to just burn, just throw money around. I just don't understand it, bro. All right, man. Torture Talk After Hours. I'm working on the volume, so let me know if the volume is actually louder and it's clear and it's pretty good for y'all. Because for some reason, YouTube has been messing with my volume on my podcast. I don't know why. I've been recording the same way, but for some reason now the volume is low. So I gotta make sure that the volume is loud so y'all can hear my voice. All right. Today's episode, we're going to continue on with the Joe Budden's situation. And the Edgewater Police has released a statement, and his attorney has released their statement, Joe Budden. So let's get to it, man. Let's do it.
Oh man, what an interesting way to start off 2025 if you're Joe Budden. On the very last day of 2024, 3 weeks after you were charged, the Edgewater Police Department says, "Hold up, buddy. We got one last trick for you." They released a press statement on Joe Budden's charge. If you guys don't know, Joe Budden was recording his podcast out of a building in Edgewater. It was a very nice building. The rent was $10K plus. So you guys already know what kind.
All right, man. So Joe, you paying 10,000 plus a month for rent for a building to do a podcast, bro? When you could have just went and probably built a crib and built a studio in that crib? A lot of y'all be having money to just burn, just throw money around. I just don't understand it, bro. 10K a month is nuts. That's nuts. Man, listen, if I had 10K a month, and I'm going to get there eventually, but if I had 10K a month, trust and believe it'll be in investments for something bigger. I'll probably have 4 or 5 different podcasts running at the same time in different multiple locations. You know what I'm saying? But for you to spend, that's crazy to me. That's crazy. But I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. I just get passionate about people just sometimes wasting money like that. For some people, it ain't wasting money. For me, that's wasting money. But yeah, let's keep it going.
Of folks live there. Now, it's been documented on the Joe Budden podcast that him and one of his neighbors did not get along. Obviously, if you have a whole podcast production being done at the building that you sleep in, whether it's people screaming, gunshots from the soundboard, the heated arguments that the cast has with each other, Joe's neighbor definitely was not feeling the idea of Joe shooting the podcast there. And also,
I will say this. I think that people gotta understand their surroundings. So let's be clear here. If you're doing a podcast in a neighborhood which typically don't have stuff like that in it, you're gonna have issues. Let's be clear here. Like, it's like me coming somewhere and dropping a carnival right in the middle of a neighborhood. They're gonna have complaints. People are gonna complain. Let's be honest. Like, you can't do a podcast in the middle of a neighborhood which is filled with people who don't really particularly be into stuff like that and expect it to go smooth and go well. It's not going to go smooth or well. It's not. And on top of that, people coming in with their entourages, they coming in with their dudes, and some of them dudes don't look like they belong there. Let's be honest. I know people are going to probably hate that comment, but people don't look like they belong there. Like, when I mean by belong there, that's like a business, a white guy going into the hood. Does he look like he belong there? No. It's the same thing as a nigga going to a white neighborhood or upscale neighborhood dressed like a hoodlum. He don't look like he belong there. Like, I'm not saying he can't be there, but he just don't look. He looks out of place. Let's be honest. I know a lot of y'all probably don't like that comment, but let's be honest. You already look out of place. And probably what happens with Joe, a bunch of people coming over, they look out of place. I'm just being honest.
Weekly guests and their entourage that Joe has come into the podcast every week. Now, this was the press release from Edgewater Police Department stating that the incident happened on December 4th, 2024 at 7:21 in the morning. It says the Edgewater Police was dispatched to an apartment complex for the report from a resident that a man was standing outside of their apartment door completely naked. Now, the caller recognized the man as a neighbor, Joseph Budden Jr., a 44-year-old male. The caller was alerted to Budden by their doorbell camera, which depicted Joe Budden attempting to enter a code into the door keypad several times before re-entering his own residence across the hall. Now, these were all details that...
Okay, so here's my thing. If I'm the neighbor and I just really want to get to the bottom of what happened. That's just me. Maybe I'm a little more understandable than some of these people. Again, that lends back to what I was saying about being out of place. But that is something weird to happen. Now, even though he probably has a condition, people saying sleepwalking is condition. He probably has a condition, but at the same time, I do understand people's, concern. I mean, if they're already thinking that you are into some type of crazy things and then you show up to their door butt naked, what you think they're gonna say? Like let's be honest, what do you think they're gonna say? They're gonna feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Maybe I would, if I'm the neighbor, I probably would have looked more into it, but I'm sure that nobody's doing all that because they don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
Joe Budden did not tell us when he talked about this on the podcast. And this press release also lets us know that Joe Budden might have had another apartment in that same complex that they recorded in. Joe was eventually charged with lewdness on a complaint summons and has to go to court this month. Now, according to TMZ, who did an article on this, the court complaint says that the resident and two juvenile daughters observed the offensive live on their phone. This right here is the part where people are saying that this could be big trouble for Joe. It's one thing if you're seen sleepwalking naked by an adult, but if they're claiming that their two daughters also saw Joe Budden sleepwalking naked, that could be a whole big issue. Now, Joe Budden...
I don't know. I'll put it to you like this, and I'm gonna be honest. Y'all don't have a problem with a certain community revealing themselves. And I ain't justifying what Joe did. I'm just saying, y'all don't have a problem with that. It was a case in California where a certain individual went inside a woman's locker room and the lady had her daughter in there with herself and a bunch of other. And this person went in there and sat down butt naked. And she complained to the spa about it. And the spa said, well, you got to leave. And they kicked the lady and the daughter out and told them that they ain't going to do nothing about it. So, again, this person probably don't agree with stuff like that. I'm just saying a lot of people seem to be okay with a certain community doing this. But when it comes to other people, they're not okay with that. I'm just trying to let y'all understand that's happened. Secondly, I don't know. Again, this goes back to the person who lives at the house saying, well, this is what we mean by crazy things happening at the place. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand why they would feel some type of way. I can't. You know what I mean? But again, this is a weird situation. But I don't think nothing's going to happen. I don't think Joe's going to get arrested. I don't think he's going to go to jail. Because it wasn't, to me, it wasn't something that he did on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's a condition, and as long as he can prove that, I don't think that a lot of the people going to feel some type of way. I think they're going to kind of let it go. That's just my opinion.
Budden's lawyer, Nima Ameri, they responded back to Edgewater Police Departments for putting out that press release. They said Mr. Budden is saddened by the police chief Martin's press release. Mr. Budden has been waiting weeks for his cross complaints to be processed, which includes substantially more serious charges and includes possible felony charges against the persons behind these charges against him. The chief has, in our...
All right. So what felony charge would it be against you? Did the person put their hands on you? Like, that's what the lawyer's not saying. So I don't know about this because the lawyer is not saying what possible felony charges it could be against the person on the other side of the door. Did they pull a gun on Joe? What happened? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I'm sure we're going to find out in the coming weeks.
Opinion sat on these, but instead used his time to gain some free publicity for himself. God damn, so the chief is clout chasing? Chief Martin should seek publicity by doing notable policing, not inflaming disorderly person's allegations. The allegations against Mr. Budden are a minor charge, not even resulting in an arrest. A charge Mr. Budden is looking forward to being in court on the merits, not in the press. The chief's comments are reckless and, in our opinion, racially motivated. Our research has not shown a single press release on a disorderly person's charge on the police website this year. His choice to single out Mr. Budden, in our opinion, is self-motivated and based off Mr. Budden's race and celebrity status. Now, those are some very strong accusations from Joe's lawyer, but they...
Yeah, those are definitely some strong accusations, but I mean, you got to look at the whole situation in its totality. If you are in a neighborhood where they don't typically have black celebrities or celebrities who have this type of things going on, maybe this police chief is leaning more towards this is the activities of what black people do. You know what I'm saying? Again, this does happen. I'm not saying that it don't. I mean, in this situation, I kind of probably would agree with the lawyer on this one because if you are in a neighborhood that's predominantly, I ain't going to say white, that's just predominantly successful and are not used to this type of behavior, then yeah, I would say that it could be not even necessarily using the race, but more than they're using the culture against Joe. Be like, oh, you're part, because there are some white people that are part of the culture, black culture, let's be honest, or culture period. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I don't know. Let's see what happens.
You have a point. If you guys have never put out a press release for anybody in this town that's gotten the same charge as me, why the fuck is you doing it now? Oh, that's right, because I'm a celebrity and you possibly could gain clout from this. Now, something that's very interesting here is that this is Edgewater. Edgewater is Joe's stomping ground. Joe has lived in Edgewater before renting out an apartment for the podcast. So you would think that somewhere where you're familiar with, you've actually lived there, you know certain people around the town, that the cops would at least cut you some slack and not be on some clout chasing stuff. Now, no matter how serious this charge is,
I don't know about that. I mean, do y'all really want the police to cut people slack, or do y'all want police to do their job? That's a question in the comments. So put that in the comments. What do y'all want the police to do? Yeah, I mean, you want them to observe the situation and cut people slack? I mean, but to me, we don't really know the full story, so we don't know what happened, actually happened. But I mean, we're gonna see what happened in the coming days, but I don't know about that cutting slack thing. I don't trust police to cut slack. I think the police just do their job and that's it.
It's still not gonna stop people from clowning on Joe for it. Now, talk about bad timing. Charleston White, who Joe Budden was supposed to do an interview with this year, just a couple days ago, Joe actually exposed them for trying to lie about the reason why he canceled on them. Charleston White tried to say that Joe Budden canceled because Joe is Diddy's mans, and Charleston was making fun of Diddy and Cassie.
Umar Joe Budden.
Oh
Yeah. Joe Budden had booked me. Then I made some comments about Cassie and Diddy was getting high, freaking, fucking, and fighting like most people do in the ghetto. He didn't want to interview me after that.
He took that in the positive.
Well, I said, man, if I got $1 billion, you can't tell me what I can do with my bitch, and me and my bitch been doing it for 12 years. We like.
Joe actually put out.
I mean, it's one thing about Charleston White that I respect is he says what he feels. I don't always agree with what he says, but I respect that he is 100% saying what he want to say. And to be honest with y'all, I think we need more people that say what they want to say and say how they really feel. You know what I'm saying? Instead of hiding and being politically correct all the time. I definitely respect that. Now, I don't like everything Charleston says because some of the stuff he says is crazy to me. But I do respect that he is a man that says what he wants to say. And no one's going to stop it.
The statement saying, "No, I canceled because you were clowning Gilly's son," literally days after he passed. Well, today, Charleston White woke up on timing. He said, "Yo, Joe Budden is a pervert and a woman beater. Ain't no nigga sleepwalking out the door and don't know it." Tell that bullshit to his podcast listeners. Now, Mano also got a couple laughs from the situation. According to ICE, he said, "Yo, shaking my head. I ran into Mano and the first thing he says to me was, 'Tell your mans to put some clothes on. It's gonna be a long 2025. Now,
here's my thing, man. A lot of y'all out here, y'all be looking for people's downfall. And I'm going to explain that at the end a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the actual case, but some of y'all, man, y'all just be so aggressive with negativity. It's crazy to me how aggressive y'all be with negativity. It's like, I mean, maybe that's a joke for Mano. I don't know, but a lot of y'all be so aggressive with negativity, man. So aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, "Yo, tell your man I'm sorry what happened to him, man. I know he sleepwalks a lot, but," you know what I'm saying? Or, I don't know. I'm even going to fault Mano because that was just a joke. It's just, for some people, man, it's just, they breed off of negativity. They love it. And they always talk about how black people need to get things together and we need to hold each other down. But all we do is really hold each other down, like, all the time. Like, it's crazy to me.
Uncle Murda, who put out his year-end 2024 wrap-up, he had the song done and ready to go, but as soon as the Joe Budden news came out yesterday, he ran back to the studio to add a couple bars. Here's what he said.
Joe Budden's got locked up for being in the building naked. It was on the Ring camera. One of his neighbors taped it. That's crazy. All the shit he be talking, he was on some kind of drug. He wasn't sleepwalking. That's embarrassing. I know he feeling crazy. That's why he ain't been recording no new episodes lately. Building he was filming and want him to get out. On the last day of the year, we find this shit out. This nigga naked playing with his neighbor's door. That's some weird shit. That's what the Ring camera saw.
Oh, man, listen, if
that was ass. I ain't going to hold you. That was trash. Like, I'm talking like top tier trash. I'm going to be honest, Uncle Murda, all you dudes doing y'all year-end wrap-up raps need to quit, bro. Y'all are outdated. Y'all flows are outdated. The songs be outdated. It's just trash. I don't know it's outdated even though it's about the year wrap-up, but some of y'all, I'm gonna be honest, some of y'all should just stop rapping, period, man. I'm just keeping it real. Some of y'all just not good at, y'all just not good. And if your whole thing is doing a year wrap up and talk about what happened throughout the whole year and you use these generic rhyme schemes to try to, like, to me, that sounds like a 12-year-old could have wrote that. And not to say 12-year-olds can't rap, because there's a lot of 12-year-olds who probably could rap, but that was trash, man. I would have left that out. I don't know why he even put that in there. That was garbage.
you're Joe, you are hoping for the next big news to pop off right now. I don't know if Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp got a part 2 for their interview coming out, or maybe another rapper gets caught up into some freaky ass case. But there's gotta be a distraction because they are clowning Joe right now. You guys get in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel like
All right, man. So look, we're gonna get to that. All right, I hope this volume is good, man, because I tried everything, and then let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna even turn it up in post production. But I want to call Joe Buttons out on something. Now, first, before I do that, I was gonna say some things. Joe Buttons is very thick-skinned. I don't think none of this is bothering him. I think he probably laughing along with it. I don't think none of this is bothering him. I think a lot of people want to see the demise or the fall of Joe Buttons, but it's not gonna happen. Especially just what happened with Adam 22 and what happened with his name. That's coming up next. Adam 22 and Whack 100 is having a fallout right now too. And Whack 100 putting some fire under that ass. So we gonna see. But I gotta call Joe out on some things. All right, Joe. So you saying you didn't want to have Charleston White on your show because let's just say he had a bad pass. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna repeat what he did because I don't really know the full story. Let's just say he had a bad pass. But you also had a bad pass too. And people still gave you a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, sometimes, Joe, you could be one of the most hypocritical people that I ever seen in my life when it comes to this, because you did a lot of things in the past that a lot of people just totally disagree with, and they still have you on their platform. I'm gonna be honest with you. Whatever happened between him and that man, that's not your problem. Because if that's the case, then it's a lot of things and it's a lot of people that you had on your podcast that you shouldn't have had on your podcast because they did something or disagreed with something from the past. That's all I'm saying. How is it that you are okay with certain people doing certain things, but for this, you're not? I'm not saying you need to be okay about it, because I don't think you need to be okay with what actually happened. And I know what happened, but I don't know the full story, but I know what happened. But I am saying that you a hypocrite because you've been through things too. Y'all could have had a conversation about it. He could have grew as a person. You never know. Maybe you ain't trying to find out. And that's one of the issues that I have with journalism and podcasting today. A lot of people just write people off. They don't want to find out why. You could easily had a conversation with him about it, and he couldn't explain to you why he said or did what he did. And it would have made for a great conversations, and you always saying this in your podcast. You don't have to agree on everything. But for some reason, it's a line being drawn when it comes to Charleston White. I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. To me, it's a little hypocritical. You had a lot of things that happened to you in the past and things that you did in the past that a lot of people would not even associate themselves with. If they knew, or if they dig some digging, they'll find out. But again, Joe is Joe. That's going to be Joe. So, all right, man. Thank y'all for joining me, man. I hope the volume is good this time. If not, let me know in the comments, and I'm going to keep on working on it until it's picture perfect. All right, see y'all. Peace. Bye.